Hello friends, welcome back to TechBlog 66. Today, we are traveling back to the year 1934 to talk about one of Alfred Hitchcock's early masterpieces, The Man Who Knew Too Much. Before Hitchcock became the master of suspense in Hollywood, before Psycho, Vertigo, and Rear Window, he was already experimenting with tension, danger, and ordinary people trapped in extraordinary situations. And this film is one of the clearest examples of that early brilliance. Released in 1934, The Man Who Knew Too Much is a British thriller directed by Alfred Hitchcock and starring Leslie Banks, Edna and Peter Lorre. Yes, the legendary Peter Lorre, in one of his earliest English-language roles, delivers a performance that is both chilling and unforgettable. The story begins quite simply. A British couple, Bob and Jill Lawrence, are vacationing in Switzerland with their young daughter, Betty. They are enjoying winter sports, socializing with other travelers, and living a carefree holiday life. But Hitchcock wastes no time. Very soon, the peaceful holiday turns into a nightmare. While at a ski resort, the Lawrences meet a mysterious Frenchman named Louis Bernard. He appears friendly, but something about him feels secretive. One night, during a dance, Bernard is shot. As he collapses, he whispers a secret to Bob Lawrence. That secret? There is a plan to assassinate a foreign diplomat in London. And just like that, the ordinary holiday becomes a race against time. But here's the twist. The criminals discover that Bob now knows about the assassination plot. To ensure his silence, they kidnap his daughter Betty. Imagine the horror. You know about a political murder that is about to happen, but if you speak, your child could die. That emotional conflict becomes the heart of the movie. What makes this film so powerful is not just the plot, but how Hitchcock builds suspense. He doesn't rely on loud action or endless violence. Instead, he creates tension through timing, camera angles, and the audience's knowledge. We often know more than the characters do. We see danger approaching, and we are forced to wait helplessly as events unfold. One of the most iconic scenes in the film takes place at the Royal Albert Hall in London. The assassination attempt is planned during a concert performance. The killer intends to shoot the diplomat at the exact moment when the orchestra crashes in a loud cymbal clash. Hitchcock stretches this scene to its limit. There is almost no dialogue. Just music, glances, fear, and rising tension. We see Jill Lawrence sitting in the audience. She slowly realizes what is about to happen. She spots the assassin. She understands that the gunshot will be hidden by the sound of the cymbals. And then comes the long, unbearable wait for that single musical note. Hitchcock makes us feel every second. The camera cuts between the cymbal player, the assassin preparing his gun, the diplomat unaware of danger, and Jill's terrified face. It is pure cinematic genius. Interestingly, Hitchcock loved this story so much that he remade the film in 1956 with James Stewart and Doris Day. That version is more polished and technically advanced. However, many critics argue that the 1934 version has a raw energy and darker atmosphere that makes it equally powerful, if not more intense. Now let's talk about the performances. Leslie Banks as Bob Lawrence gives a strong and believable performance as a desperate father. He is not a superhero. He is not a trained spy. He is simply a man trying to save his daughter. His frustration and helplessness feel real. Edna as Jill is equally impressive. In fact, in many ways, she becomes the emotional core of the film. Her strength, especially in the Royal Albert Hall scene, is remarkable. She is intelligent, observant, and brave. And then there is Peter Lorre. He plays the villain Abbott, the mastermind behind the kidnapping and assassination plot. Lorre brings a strange mix of charm and menace to the role. His soft voice and calm expressions make him even more disturbing. He doesn't shout or threaten loudly. Instead, his quiet confidence makes you uneasy. This performance helped launch his international career. From a technical point of view, the film shows Hitchcock experimenting with many techniques that would define his later career. The use of sound is particularly interesting. Remember, this was only a few years after the introduction of sound in cinema. Hitchcock uses silence and music strategically. The Royal Albert Hall sequence is almost like a silent film scene, guided entirely by music and visuals. The pacing of the film is also impressive. It moves quickly, without unnecessary scenes. Every moment pushes the story forward. Even though it is a thriller, Hitchcock adds small touches of humor, especially in the early vacation scenes. This contrast makes the later danger feel even more shocking. Another important theme in the film is the vulnerability of ordinary people. The Lawrences are not spies or detectives. They are tourists. Hitchcock loved this idea. Again and again in his career, he told stories about normal people who accidentally get caught in criminal conspiracies. It makes the story relatable. We ask ourselves, what would I do in this situation? The kidnapping aspect adds emotional weight. The fear of losing a child is universal. Hitchcock understood that suspense is stronger when it is personal. The assassination plot is political and large-scale, but the kidnapping is intimate and painful. That combination keeps the audience emotionally invested. Visually, the film captures both the beauty of Switzerland and the darker streets of London. The contrast between the bright snowy mountains and the shadowy urban settings reflects the shift in tone from holiday fun to deadly conspiracy. Of course, because this is a film from 1934, some elements may feel dated to modern audiences. The pacing may seem slower compared to today's action thrillers. The special effects are minimal. But if you appreciate classic cinema and storytelling craft, you will see how advanced this film was for its time. It is also important to recognize that this film helped establish Hitchcock's international reputation. It proved that he could handle complex suspense stories with confidence. Without films like this, we might not have the later masterpieces that made him a legend. So, should you watch The Man Who Knew Too Much from 1934? Absolutely. If you are a fan of suspense, if you enjoy classic black and white cinema, or if you want to explore the early works of Alfred Hitchcock, this film is a must-watch. It is tense, emotional, and cleverly directed. The Royal Albert Hall scene alone is worth experiencing. It is a perfect example of how to create suspense without explosions or excessive action. In conclusion, The Man Who Knew Too Much from 1934 is not just an early Hitchcock film. It is a blueprint for the modern thriller. It shows a director discovering his voice, experimenting with tension, and proving that fear can be created through timing, music, and emotion. Thank you so much for watching TechBlog 66. If you enjoyed this review, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more classic movie reviews. Let me know in the comments which Hitchcock film is your favorite, and whether you prefer the 1934 version or the 1956 remake. Until next time, keep watching great cinema and keep exploring film history. This movie is available on YouTube free.